Sorry, it appears that my microphone may have been on that karaoke with Rin. Well, we'll move on. The first contestant on stage is cosplaying Snufkin from Moomins. Give them a hand. For an outdoorsy character like Snufkin, he wanted clothes that didn't have any references to be made with practicality in mind. Woolen overalls makes it easy to move around and match the hand-felted woolen hat he wears. And underneath the coat is a yellow shirt matching the yellow in his scarf, which is knitted by himself. Everything is dirtied up, as is only appropriate for the character. Thank you very much.
Next up is a collie from League of Legends. She's only 16 years old and is currently working to become a tailor. A collie doesn't look like this anymore, so she wanted to cosplay her this way to annoy a friend. This is her first competition ever and only her second time cosplaying. The wig is handcrafted from 3 individual wigs. She has taken each wig's row of hair and sewn them together to make a more natural looking wig. The clothing itself took her 40+ hours to sew and to make sure that it was correctly form-fitted. Thank you very much.
Next up is Margaery Tyrell from Game of Thrones. Lizzie bought 11 meters of fabric in Malaysia and began the project in summer of 2018 with help from her mother Hannah. No pattern existed readily online, so a pattern was created from scratch through intense studies of picture of the series and several prototypes made in linen. The bodice is made of 2 layers of blue satin and a layer of gold lace fabric that resembles that of the embroidery on the original dress. The skirt, sewn of 1 layer of another blue satin, is comprised of 4 sections. The sleeves are made of petroleum blue velvet fabric and sewn onto the neck and front of the bodice, however hooked in the back. The accompanying belt is made of wire and coated with gold fimo clay. The rose is made from copper fimo clay and is attached to the dress with a thin chain. Thank you very much.
Next up we have Mewtwo, the armor version. It's gonna take a little while to get up the steps though, so give a big round of applause while we wait to get securely up. The whole cosplay is made by Mugiwara Cosplay themselves. Mewtwo itself took 4 months to make and was made 3 years ago. Mewtwo is made of upholstery, foam, and fleece, and half of it is hand-sewn to hide seams. It was the very first full suit and was a bit of a challenge to make. The armor took about 1.5 months to make and was made 1.5 years ago. It's mostly made of EVA foam and wobbler. The wires are real wires with wobbler plugs and are attached with magnets. The helmet has LED lights to show Mewtwo's glowing eyes. This has been her biggest armor build, and her favorite part of the whole cosplay is the helmet. Thank you very much.
Alright, my microphone is working! Yay! Next up is Winged Victory Mercy from Overwatch. The cosplay was meant as a fun little project just to use what supplies she already had lying around from old cosplays and projects, which ended up being Winged Victory Mercy. The hardest and most time-consuming part of the cosplay were the wings and the harness. The harness required a lot of thinking and engineering, trying to figure out how to construct it to both be sturdy and accurate to the reference, with an open back dress. and not have any straps showing. The wings were hard due to them having to float from the body and the many hours spent making the, wow, there's a lot, 84 individual feathers.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Next up we have the Dark Elementalist Lux from League of Legends. This is the first cosplay where she has made basically every part all by herself. The only thing that she didn't make is the corset. She chose to cosplay this version of Lux since it consists of many different parts and she was forced to try out new techniques and work with materials she had never worked with before. The part of the cosplay that she is most proud of is her staff, where she both used LEDs and 3D modeling and printing. Thank you.
Next up is Arden Estudio from Final Fantasy 15. Arden may not be the favorite character amongst fans, but his huge presence in every scene of both the game and movie instantly made him Mike's favorite character. Mike knew it would be a challenge to create such a huge cosplay with over 14 different elements, many of which he has never had his hands on making before, all done within the last 2 stressful months before the convention. Thank you very much.
Next up is Dovahkiin from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Tina chose this cosplay because Skyrim is one of her favorite video games and because she's a big fan of the Daedric armor from the game. She spent approximately 160 hours making everything, and 90% of the cosplay is made of EVA foam, while the small details that needed more sturdiness were made of wobbler. She likes the helmet the most, but she's also very proud of the LEDs since it's her first time adding light to her cosplay. Thank you very much.
Next up is Star Guardian Sarika from League of Legends. One of the most challenging part of this cosplay are the gigantic wings that she has shaped by hand and glued each feather individually. The wig is hand-dyed with 3 different shades of ink, which is done to give the wig a little more depth. One of her favorite parts of the cosplay is the light in both the skirt and wings, trying to mimic the stars and glitter surrounding her in-game and truly making her a star child. Thank you very much.
Next up is the Dancer set from Dark Souls 3. This cosplay is mainly made from EVA foam with some details in wobbler or clay. A challenge was to keep track of the numerous armor parts and to attach them securely but invisibly. She's also especially proud of the paint job. For the swords, 1 master was built and sculpted, then 2 copies were cast in clear resin with a silicone mold. Programmable LEDs and a well-hidden circuit make them glow. They are definitely the most difficult thing she has ever made. Thank you.
Next up is Trixie Mattel from RuPaul's Drag Race. This costume took about 150 hours to create, where 130 of those hours were spent on the wig alone. The part of the wig that took the longest was making a lace wig from scratch. Besides the wig, she is very proud of the vinyl heart on the front of the dress, because it was a material she hadn't worked with before, and it came out smooth looking. Thank you very much.
Our last contestant for the Craftmanship is Chaplin Mars from Warhammer 40k. This armor has been quite a challenge. Besides the one on stage, he has made another like it at the same time, making him work twice as much as usual. His favorite part is the shoulder armor, as he has gotten pretty good at organic shapes. The hands are not his own. Since the arm is so big, he made some mobility. Thank you. That was our last contestant for craftsmanship. Give them